See how he changed the whole topic. He was talking about the logical stuff, hadith and sunnah. Well, what are you talking about? So Khalifa thought about it. He said to Imam Ahmed, I'm not going to let you trick me. I still want you to say that the Quran was created. After all this. So Imam Ahmed said, no, I will not. The Khalifa said, then I will bring the biggest torturers in the jail, in the prison, to torture you here in front of me. Imagine. And he sent to that prison, and they brought him 10 people, not 1 or 2, 10 of the biggest people who hit people with lashes, with the whips. The torturers, I don't know if there is a different word to call them, those who their job is to torture people in prison. So they got him 10 of them, and they all stood there. Mu'tasim was there, Ibn Abu Dawood was there, and Imam Ahmed was there. By the way, the Prophet ﷺ says one of the greatest deeds in the sight of Allah, kalimatu haqqin 'inda sultanin ja'ir, the word of truth, of haqq, to the sultan. Sultan means, still, if you want to tell him a word of truth, it's still good. But the Prophet ﷺ says the greatest of the deeds is to say the word of truth to an unjust ruler. Sultan means ruler, someone in power, in charge, and he's unjust. He's oppressor. He's an oppressor. He's not doing the right thing. And you go and you stand before him and you tell him what you're doing is wrong and this is haram. This is one of the greatest deeds, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that this man is going to go through a lot of pain and suffering. And normally they tell you, subhanallah, this is a rule. One of the good sign about a scholar is a scholar that gets in trouble with the government. They tell you that's a good sign. That means the scholar is a good scholar. Because, subhanAllah, unfortunately, because our Muslim governments at our time are not really following Islam in any way. SubhanAllah. Hypocrites, whatever they are, Allah will hold them responsible on the Day of Judgment, inshaAllah. Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal stayed in front of the Khalifa, and he was looking at those 10 big torturers. Even the Khalifa wanted to scare him more. He said, these whips are worn out. They're being used. Go bring me new whips. Imagine, what are you doing to... he's not a criminal. He did not kill anybody. All he did was that give me Quran and Sunnah, and that's the only thing. So the Khalifa said to Imam Ahmed, one last chance. You either say what I want you to say, or those 10 will be all hitting you at the same time. Imagine, not one at a time, all 10 torturers hitting him at the same time with their whips. Imam Ahmed said, he kept saying the same thing. Give me an ayah from the Quran, a hadith of the Prophet, and I will say it right away. What you're telling me is not in the Quran or the hadith. Mu'tasim ordered them to hit Imam Ahmed. And not only that, he said to the torturers, if you do not hit him with full strength, the strongest you can, I will cut off your arms. So even the torturers got scared, and they started hitting him. Imagine this skinny Imam who did not make a mistake or did not do anything to deserve this, was getting hit by 10 torturers. They kept hitting him in front of the Khalifa. They say, one of them, he said, my tears were falling down. I was so sad. This is an old, respectful man, Imam, everybody loves him, and look what we're doing to him. And what did he do? He said, I was hitting him, I was getting scared of the Khalifa, I cannot stop, and my tears were falling off. Another one of them, and these torturers' statements were recording, subhanAllah, one of them said, I swear by Allah, if I was hitting an elephant this way, he would have given up. And Imam Ahmed never gave up, subhanAllah. One of them said, I was scared that my next hit will go throughout his body from the other side. You can imagine how much they were hitting him. His whole body, his back, they said, became red because of the blood everywhere, to the point that he passed out. Imagine someone who's being tortured, so much pain that he lost consciousness. He passed out. They did not stop. The Khalifa said, go bring some water, spray the water on his face so he can wake up and we can continue the torture. And again, subhanAllah, what did he do to deserve this? They don't do this to criminals who killed, maybe they commit murder, they don't treat them this way. What did he do to deserve this? They kept doing that, and then the Mu'tasim told him to stop. And he said to Imam Ahmed, are you ready to say what I want you to say? He said, of course, tell me an ayah from the Quran or the hadith of the Prophet, and I will say it right away. Mu'tasim got very upset. He told him to continue. The torturers themselves were crying out of the pain of this big Imam, subhanallah. And they could not stop because the Khalifa was standing there looking at them. They kept hitting him until he passed out again. And they got some water, they sprayed it on his face. Then Khalifa looked at Imam Ahmed and he said, are you expecting to defeat all of us? 10 torturers, big torturers, and I am the Khalifa with them. You think you can break us? You can break our word? We're going to keep doing this until you say what I want you to say. What did Imam Ahmed say? Give me an ayah from the Quran or a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and I will say it. Just imagine the willpower that comes. This only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say we kept hitting him the whole day until we thought he's going to die. When they were scared, if he dies, that's going to start a big problem, a big revolution, because the whole ummah was looking up to Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal at that point. So he said, the Khalifa said, stop hitting him, get him some water, not to spray it on his face this time, let him drink some water. Now can you imagine, subhanallah, his answer? When they went to Imam Ahmed and they said, here, drink some water. He said, no, I cannot drink, I am fasting today. Subhanallah, going through all this torture, all this pain, and he said, no, I am fasting today. By the way, later on, some of his students come to visit him. And they say, oh Imam, just give us the word. We will start the biggest revolution you can think of. We will remove this Khalifa after what he did to you. What did Imam Ahmed answer? He said, no, I will not start a fitna. And if he wanted to start a revolution, to start any fitna or a problem for the Mu'tasim, he could have done that. He was very famous and popular at that time. Still, he chose not to be the reason of any fitna. Now, before we continue this story, just to talk a little bit about Mu'tasim, the Khalifa. He's not all that bad, by the way. What he did to Imam Ahmed was, of course, terrible. And probably all of us hate him for what he did to the great Imam like this. But he did some good things. He's not all that bad, actually. 2 years after this incident, there is a city in Turkey called Amuriya. Now, I'm not sure of the name, Afyun or something like that. It's far away from Baghdad, of course, from where the Mu'tasim was. And that city was the capital of the Roman Empire at that time in that region. There was a Muslim lady, they took her to jail for whatever reason, and then the guard there slapped her. So she called and she said, wa mu'tasimah, oh Mu'tasim. She was calling a Mu'tasim all the way from Turkey, and again from Iraq to Turkey, and Baghdad to that city is a long, long way. So that guard laughed at her. And he said, you're calling Mu'tasim, Mu'tasim can't hear you. He's so far away, busy in his castle. You think he's going to care about one lady? Subhanallah, the story reached Al-Mu'tasim, that there is a Muslim prisoner lady in the prison in Amuriya, and she called your name. He sent a letter to the emperor or the king in that region. He said, because of what you did to that lady, or one of your guard did to that lady, I'm going to send you an army. The beginning of the army will be at your city, and the end of that army will be at my city. Imagine how big that army is. And he was actually the one who made the whole area, Turkey, fall into Islam, Al-Mu'tasim. So this is one of the great things, actually, one of the achievements of Al-Mu'tasim. But now what's the most amazing part of the story, Imam Ahmed, we said the torture, he will not forget that torture. And we said 2 months after being tortured like that, and he still could not lie on his back. His back was hurting even 2 months after that. And the traces of the whip, the marks on his back, never went away until he died. You can still look at his back and see the lashes, and subhanallah. When he heard about this story, that Mu'tasim did this for the Muslim lady, he said, when I heard this, I forgave everything Mu'tasim did to me. Subhanallah, how forgiving can someone be? I mean, if someone slaps you one time, you will never forgive him until the end of your life. He said, because of that lady and what the Mu'tasim did for her, I forgave everything he did to me. Imagine all this torture and all this pain. These are the true scholars. They do not carry hatred in their hearts. And this torture lasted a while until finally Mu'tasim gave up. This man is not going to do what we want him to say. So just keep him in jail. Now, for how long did he stay in jail? All the time of Ma'mun, all the time of Mu'tasim. The Khalifa who came after Mu'tasim died, and Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal was still in jail. He was called Al-Wathiq. Now, this Khalifa was not as powerful as the Khilafah before him, so he kept things the way they were. He didn't care much about Imam Ahmad, so Imam Ahmad stayed in jail for 5 years. As the Khalifa was al-Wathiq, he stayed a Khalifa for 5 years, and Imam Ahmad was in jail for 5 years. By the way, we're telling the story, it takes me a second to tell you what's happening, but 5 years is a long time. And then 5 years before that, when the two Khilafah before him, Imam Ahmad remained in jail from the age of 55 until the age of 68. 13 years. His class was cancelled within these 13 years. We say if his class was not cancelled, how many people would have gotten a lot of knowledge? 13 years, a very long time. Having a class every day, and the class was cancelled for 13 years. Subhanallah, how much knowledge was lost because of that. Now, after Al-Wathiq died, that's the third Khalifa, a fourth Khalifa came, and we said the Khilafah was fragile. It did not last long, and there was a lot of assassinations at that time, people killing one another for the Khilafah. Unfortunately, it was almost the end of the Khilafah, at least the way that we used to know it at that time, or they used to know it at that time. And what's happening to Imam Ahmad? He's still in jail. But at that time, Imam Ahmad was getting famous to begin with. Every time the more time he spends in jail, the more famous he becomes. People start getting attached to him even more and start talking what is happening to Imam Ahmad, what's happening to Imam Ahmad. The only Imam who kept saying no to the Khalifa to the last minute. Now the fourth Khalifa, his name was Al-Mutawakkil. This one was a little bit better than those before him. He wanted to see what's going on. Now, Imam Ahmad, we said, was famous. So one old man was walking in the street saying one statement of Imam Ahmad, one famous statement of Imam Ahmad. And that statement was known to the police that Imam Ahmad was the only one who says this, which was, give me an ayah from the Quran or hadith of the Sunnah. So the people start saying this in the streets. So the police captured him, they arrested him, and they took him to the Khalifa, Al-Mutawakkil, that's the new Khalifa. So he asked the old man, by the way, just subhanAllah, we don't even know the name of the old man. Just a man, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. No one knows the soldiers, the forces of Allah. Allah wanted him to do something, and this old man was just passing in the street, he said that statement. So the Khalifa called the man, and he asked him, where did you get this from? He said, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was still in jail, by the way. He said, what's this all about? They told him it's about Mu'tazila, who is in charge, Ibn Abi Dawood. Bring me Ibn Abi Dawood. How much knowledge was lost. His class that he used to have every day, of course, had to be stopped for these 13 years. How many students did not get knowledge? How many students, subhanAllah. And again, we see how much an unjust ruler, how much damage can a ruler like that do, and subhanAllah, how our countries are suffering from rulers like this, many different countries. Anyway, so the fourth Khalifa who came after Al-Wathiq, his name was Al-Mutawakkil. Now, this one was better than all of the ones before him. What happened was, one old man, and again, subhanAllah, no one knows the forces of Allah except Allah himself. He was saying these words out loud in the street. Give me something from the Quran or the Sunnah and I will say it. So the police heard that these are the words of Imam Ahmad, and Imam Ahmad in jail. That means that guy is conspiring or something with Imam Ahmad, so let's arrest him. They arrested him and they took him to the Khalifa. The Khalifa said, what are you saying? He said, give me something from the Quran or the Sunnah, I will say it. So the Khalifa, the new one, Mutawakkil, he was not aware of what was happening before. He asked around and told them, this Mu'tazila people, they have power in the government, they're ministers and stuff, and their chief, their boss was called Ibn Abi Dawood. Ibn Abi Dawood was called to the Khalifa, and the Khalifa said, let's see what's going on. Now, subhanAllah, the same debate that happened between Al-Mu'tasim and Imam Ahmad happened the same exact thing between Mutawakkil and this old man and Ibn Abi Dawood. The Al-Mutawakkil asked the old man, what is Imam Ahmad saying? Again, subhanAllah, the one who's going to help Imam Ahmad is someone that Imam Ahmad does not know even about. And subhanAllah, as we said, Allah might send someone to help you have never seen in your life. You don't know anything about that person. And then you never meet that person ever again in your life, because his role is over. We don't even know this man's name, by the way. Old man who helped freeing Imam Ahmad. Now, the old man, he was wise. He looked at Ibn Abi Dawood, and the same thing Imam Ahmad said before. This thing about creating the creation of the Quran, is there an ayah in the Quran that talks about this? Ibn Abi Dawood said no. He said, isn't the Quran complete? There's not going to be more revelation? It's not going to be more parts